How's it going, guys? And welcome back to another edition of the Kick Report. My name is Braxton, and today we're going to be taking a look at the AE2. Now, of course, the second installment of the Anthony Edwards shoe line. This one released back in October of 2025, so it's been a minute, but personally, I really enjoyed playing in these shoes. These were honestly my most consistent hoop shoe of my basketball season that just passed. I'll throw some highlights up for you guys. And overall, just before we get into the meat and potatoes of it, I was much more pleased with this, with the AE2 over the AE1. I think it capitalized on a lot of the things that were kind of left missing, a lot of the missed potential of the AE1, and I think these really hit home. So let's find out why. So what's funny is, honestly, at first, I didn't really like these that much. I thought when the first renderings came out, they looked like a spaceship and they're too crazy. These and the Harden 9s, I was kind of half in, half out on, but honestly, they grew on me over time, especially seeing like the different colorways. I know they had the Hellstar collab come out. There was some really nice shoes that came out of that collab, different type of collab too, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, they've been popular around the NBA and professional leagues as well. I'm not the only one. So shout out to Kick Stats. They kind of log different shoes and how much people wear them and who wears them and stuff like that. So I appreciate them for this information. But these recorded just over 9,300 minutes on the court for those different leagues for different players. So obviously the most notable wearing these is going to be Anthony Edwards, and followed by that was Jabari Parker. So two Adidas athletes, obviously. But yeah, it's a very well shown shoe, and I think for good reason. They look pretty good. So now let's talk about what matters, the traction. So the traction for these is like a herringbone inspired type of traction, pretty similar to the AE1, but just a little bit tweaks here and there. I noticed that there was a little bit of translucence on the inside of the shoe, on the inside pattern of the shoe, and then towards the outside rim where the light strike is, there's a little bit more of like a opaque or a little bit of a more solid type of traction there. No real difference between the two. Very good. I was very pleased with these on clean and dusty courts. They picked up a little bit of dust, but obviously no shoe is going to be perfect in that department. They were with just a quick wipe every 10 or so possessions, they were fine. So definitely they were good with bite, and they were good with just overall endurance of the game, whether I was hooping on a bad court or a clean court, hence why I decided to use them as my season shoe. I would say they were above average on dusty courts and elite on clean courts. So if you're like a high school hooper and your equipment manager isn't sweeping the floor like they need to, you're gonna be fine. So definitely was super pleased with these. Now let's talk about the biggest difference, or what I think Adidas capitalized on to make the AE2s so much better than the AE1s. That's gonna be the cushion setup. So for the cushion setup, we're getting a hybrid system. It's gonna have that full length light boost, partial light strike, and a propulsion plate. So you could obviously, the propulsion plate's right here. You can see it pretty clearly. Propulsion plate, to those who don't know, basically just an energy return. When the shoe bends, instead of letting that energy just fizzle out, it's shifting that energy into your next step. So pretty pleased with that there. You feel it, and it adds a lot of structure to the shoe, so that's awesome. You feel the light boost in these, and I love it. The light boost is basically what you see around this propulsion plate. Honestly, it's a little dirty. Sorry, I hooped in them, but it's what's on the inside, and you feel it a lot more than you felt it in the AE1s. I think mainly because of the light strike. The light strike, you may be wondering, where's the light strike? It's around the outside. So when I was talking about where that traction, or when the traction is a little bit more opaque and it's harder to see through, that's where that light strike is shining. The light strike basically is honestly just acting as the cage. I have the AE1s down here, and as you see, it's all caged off by this hard rubber material, and it made for the shoe to be really clunky because you're not really getting any compression out of that light boost except barely in the heel. So I think they did a much better job of that in the AE2s. So definitely pleased there. Yeah, so I think that translates to the biggest difference being when you're running, it feels like with the AE1s, you're just flopping your foot on the ground. And if you're trying to stop, there's a chance that if you heel strike too hard, there's really no way to stop your foot from smacking against the ground, which could cause injuries. So for the AE2s, they definitely did a lot better of a job of that. But that little heel cap, this little plastic heel cap, we'll talk about that later. Now let's talk about something pretty important as well. the materials. So the AE2 uses like a type of mesh on the sides. That's what you're really going to see on the lateral sides of the shoe, the lateral and medial sides of the shoe, excuse me. And honestly, I think there was a little bit left to be desired. I think there could have been a different type of design or something here. It just kind of feels like an empty canvas. Like if I was that type of dude to just draw all over his shoes, I would love to draw my shoes just right in this little empty blank canvas spot. But overall, pretty good materials. I think one thing that's really interesting about these is the lacing system. The way it laces, it kind of just closes in your foot. I was at my 14.5 true size, and I think I know these are 14. They're a little bit tight, so I really didn't want my foot moving around in them. So what I did is I just tied my shoe tighter. As you guys know, I personally enjoy tying my shoes way too tight. Come after me. But I will say that me tying them super tight worked out. I didn't lose any type of circulation in my foot. I know it's crazy to say, but that happens with some shoes. And I think these shoes did a very good job of lockdown. So even if you are not someone who ties their shoes super tight, I think this will work out for you. So now let's talk about this plastic end cap. So it's almost like I don't necessarily know why they threw this in here. If you know, please throw it in the comments. I'm all ears to being educated. But I think it was mainly done to add rigidity to the shoe, and it does a good job of that. But I feel like it kind of picks up on some of the issues that I had with the AE1, with the heel feeling a little bit clunky. I think with this harder heel plasticky design, I lose some of that court feel in the ankle or in the bottom of my foot, and it kind of it doesn't work out for me that well. I'll just say that. But what it does do is it does support my Achilles very well. Now, as you know, we're not getting, or to my knowledge, I'm not seeing anything that says we're going to get an AE2 low. And if we were, I would think we would got it by now. But that does mean that this is a midsole type of shoe or a mid-top type of shoe. So I think if you need that extra ankle support, or if you're coming off a type of Achilles injury or anything like that, these are going to shine. And I think these are one of the only mid-tops in the game that are good. So, because it's a dying breed. A lot of the shoes are moving to low tops now, and some people don't like that. But I think if you don't want to compromise, if you don't want to compromise malleability with the shoe and being able to move your foot around and feeling like a guard, I think these are a great alternative, or honestly a great main option to hooping. I think another thing to note is that the AE2s are 2 whole ounces lighter than the AE1s. And that's honestly crazy to me. The fact that these are low top and these are mid top, and there's 2 whole less ounces in these. I think it's a little over 2 ounces too. I think that's honestly insane. I think you feel it when you're running around too. Like fatigue is real. Like if you're a hooper and let's say you're on a team and let's say someone did something wrong and you got to run, you're going to feel that about the 8th touch down the court. You're going to feel the weight of the shoe. So I think, I'm speaking from experience, but I think that these were honestly much better in that department. And you felt that. And it felt like my movements were quicker. I'm a bigger player. I'm about 6'8", and I like to make hard, quick cuts. I think that having an ankle weight on my shoe doesn't really help with that, so I think these are much, much better. But overall, I really did enjoy hooping in this shoe. I think the AE2s are a massive step ahead for the Adidas line, and honestly creating some brand trust. I think with a lot of athletes, they just don't necessarily trust the Adidas brand, or at least the athletes I've been around don't necessarily trust the Adidas brand. They're kind of like I'm so stuck on Nike. But these honestly offer a good out. I think they did okay with the AE1s, and it was definitely a step in the right direction, but the AE2s are a leap in the right direction. So very happy to see what they have in store. I would honestly give these a true 8.7 out of 10, like a well-deserved. Like I think that if my personal experience would have been better if I got 14.5. I know the bigger sizes are a little bit harder to come by in the half sizes. So you'll be okay if you're on like an Adidas sponsored team, but I think if you're buying these out of your pocket like I did, it's gonna be a little bit harder to find that 14.5, or even the bigger sizes than the half sizes. But even still, I was still super pleased with these. And I think that if I would have gotten a 14.5, my score would have been even higher. So I think that speaks very loudly for the Adidas brand. But yeah, I'm super excited to see what they have in store for the Adidas line. I'm super excited to see what they have next for the AE2s, or therefore the AE3s, or maybe an AE2 low, AE3 low, whatever that is. I think not changing too much, maybe a low variant would be very awesome for this line, especially because Anthony Edwards is becoming a household name. They hit on getting him signed to the Adidas brand. Now he might even be the face of the league, who knows? So super excited for Adidas. So the AE2s are coming in at a price of $130. Honestly, right where you want it to be, not too expensive, not too cheap. Oh, there can't be a too cheap. Maybe there can be. That's a conversation for a different day, but definitely super solid. Some of them are going on sale as well right now. So you can get, like, honestly, a colorway I really enjoyed was the All-Star colorway. You can get that one for, I think there's one going for like $100 right now. So honestly, this is definitely a shoe I would get at full price, let alone discounted. So go ahead and go grab yourself a pair. I wanted to give a shout out to my guy Luton Fang 9384. He said, always appreciate the opinion from a real hooper like you. I'm getting a pair. I'm super glad I could have, to even think that I could have a sway on somebody's opinion like that, it means a lot. From hooper to hooper, I appreciate you, and I look forward to getting some more content for not only you, but for everybody as well. But that is gonna do it for today's video. Again, I truly appreciate you guys for all your support. We're at 91 subscribers as of recording this video. And I know this is my first time showing my face on here, so definitely still getting used to that. Again, I really appreciate you guys for your continued support, and I'll be sure to get more of these videos coming out soon since my season's over, and I have a little bit more free time on my hands. But again, thank you all so much, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in the next one. This has been the Kick Report.